This is Duke University.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Duke University Paralegal Studies Certificate Program Information Session Webinar. It's always a mouthful. My name is Stephanie Plowman. I am Program Coordinator. With me this evening is Phaedra Kelly, Program Manager at Duke University. And together we are going to tell you everything you ever wanted to know and then some about the Duke University Paralegal Certificate Program. Now before...
Hello, everyone.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Hello, Phaedra.
I want to say hi.
Hello there. Now, before I pass it along to Phaedra, just one housekeeping matter. This system is very, very sensitive here on GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar. So everybody is on mute, but for, of course, Phaedra and myself. So that does not mean we don't want your questions. We do want them, and we're always ready, willing, and able to answer them. However, when you are ready to ask a question, please do type it into the questions box, which you will find on your GoToWebinar toolbar. Once you have typed your question into that box, it will pop up on my screen, and I will read it out loud, and either Phaedra or myself will answer it for you. Now, we will certainly be opening up the session to questions at the end of the presentation, but if you have any questions that come up as we are working through our slides and information tonight, please do feel free to type away, and if there's a reasonable moment for us to take a question, we will certainly break in and take that question, but rest assured we will get to all questions at the end of the session. So with that being said, I'm going to pass things over to Phaedra, who is going to kick us off tonight. So here we go. Whoops. All right.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to start with just kind of some information about the paralegal program, the paralegal profession in general, because it's a good story to tell. Employment of paralegals is going to grow nationally about 8% over the next, well, between 2014 and 2024, so over the next 8 years or so. Another thing that's happening in the profession is that because of the cost of attorneys, a lot of firms are hiring more paralegals to do work that used to be traditionally done by lawyers. So that is also increasing the number of paralegals that are needed in the profession. Though the jobs are competitive, so having a certificate and also, you know, coming from North Carolina, getting certified through the NC Bar will certainly help your employment chances. And, you know, obviously there's also the chance to specialize. The program today that we're going to discuss is the general paralegal program. We also do some specialty programs if you ever want to go a little further in your education. Next, please. And then this is just going a little more deeper into the state level. NC Works, which does a lot of job search and job information for North Carolina, has paralegal profession as a bright outlook, which means that it is growing, the profession is growing, there are jobs available. Next, please. And it's also considered a North Carolina STAR job, and they base these basically on the education that you have. So for this one, they're looking at associate degrees and just jobs that make sense for people to go into because they're available and because the wages are good, and there's usually I think that for STAR jobs they also look at amount of stress in the job, amount of satisfaction, things like that. Next, please. And this is just a quick comparison. We also, just so you know, do an online program that's available to all. And, you know, there are some good differences. The classroom program obviously is going to have more interactive and personal instruction. The online program we offer has instructors that provide feedback, grade assignments, things like that, but it's much more self-paced and student-driven without specific deadlines for assignments. With the online, we give you 1 year to complete. And, you know, with the classroom program, with the summer intensive, of course, we're talking seven very quick weeks. The spring and fall semesters, which we also do, are more like 5 months. The big difference, and this is not this doesn't reflect at all on the online curriculum is that it's only the classroom programs that are approved by the North Carolina Certification Board. That's the North Carolina Board's decision. They don't certify any, they don't approve any online paralegal programs, unfortunately. That may change in the future, but for now, that's how things are. Can we go to the next slide? And then this is just some photos for you to kind of see. On the top right is Smith Warehouse. That's where my office is. That's where I am right now. Duke's East Campus in downtown Durham. It's an old warehouse that's been converted. It's very beautiful. Your classrooms will be in here, and it's a really great because it's super convenient to downtown Durham, but also convenient to 9th Street. So for the summer, you have an hour break for lunch. You would have time to go grab something if you wanted. Also, there's parking on site that's very convenient. You get a parking pass as part of your tuition. And it's gated parking, so again, it's relatively safe. Next, please. And then this is some just more stuff with Smith Warehouse. On the top right is the little lounge area that you would have to use during breaks. There's also a tiny kitchen in there with a microwave and a refrigerator where you could store your lunch if you want. Bottom left is a photo of the main classroom, which I believe all the summer classes are being held at. There's, video technology and stuff like that. The bottom right is the little snack bar that we have in Smith Warehouse, and my understanding is it will be open for breakfast and lunch for y'all. It's kind of sandwich, salad-y, bagel, coffee kind of place. Sometimes they also have soup. And Stephanie, yeah, thank you. So the schedule for the summer, 7 weeks. I kind of want to stress just that it is very intensive. You're getting a lot of information at once, so you need to be really ready to focus on the program mainly. It starts May 15th and ends June 30th. This one is a daytime program. Monday through Thursday, classes meet from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. with that hour break. And then we occasionally have Friday or Saturday classes that meet half day or full day. And the full schedule is on our website, and I can also send it to you. Next, please. And this just lays out the curriculum of our paralegal classroom program. The bulk of your classes is an area called Essential Skills, and this is really kind of the meat of the program, where you learn legal terminology, you learn about the different court systems that are in place in our country, you learn about legal ethics, you learn about law office etiquette, and then a big part of it, of course, is learning legal writing and research. And with all of this, you have one instructor. And I should mention at this point that all of our instructors are practicing attorneys with experience in their field. You'll have one instructor, and you have one textbook, and then available online resources, which I will get to in a moment. And then the other main part of the curriculum are the substantive courses, and this is where we focus on the law itself, kind of general ideas about specific legal disciplines. And we focus on 4: contract law, real estate law, family law, and tort law. And each course will have an instructor that teaches that area, and each course has its own textbook. And all the courses will have various kinds of learnings, methods, and different kinds of assignments. So, you'll have a combination of lecture and discussion, demos, independent and group projects, writing assignments, quizzes, and exams. Next, please, Steph. And then the other part of the curriculum are our survey classes and our online support. The survey classes we offer, there's no textbooks and there's no grades in these classes. We offer these because these are areas of the law that are often on the NC bar, and they're frankly good areas of the law for you to have a passing familiarity with. And our survey classes are business law, wills, estates, and trusts, criminal law, constitutional law, and then we also offer a one-day class called Employment Strategies, where a career specialist who you'll have the opportunity to send your resume to will kind of sit down and talk with you about how to get a job as a paralegal, you know, things about your resume, your cover letter, your interviews, law office etiquette, things like that. And there'll also be during that class 2 panelists who are former Duke students who are currently paralegals to talk about their experiences as well. And then the last part of the curriculum is the online support. There is an online element to the course where you do have to do some online learning. It's called Paralegal Space, and it kind of supplements the essential skills part of your curriculum. You also have, as part of the online learning, access to the 2 major online legal research tools, Lexis Advance and Westlaw. And all of that is included in your essential skills bundle / textbook, which includes, of course, more than a textbook. Next, please, Stephanie. And I'm going to turn it over now. Thank you so much.
Okay, I am going to take it from Phaedra. Thank you so much for all of that wonderful and helpful information. As Phaedra just mentioned, as we were looking at the curriculum for the program, there is an online component to the Paralegal Certificate Program, both for the online program, obviously, but also the ground classes, and that is our website, paralegalspace.com. Now, on Paralegal Space, you will find amazing study support to accompany each one of your classes, and you will also find an area where we will communicate with you, a communications portal among administrators, students, and instructors. Now, once you have registered for the program and shortly before either our ground classes start, usually a week or so before, or once you've registered for an online program, you will receive your login information for Paralegal Space. And once you log in, this will be the first page that you see, your dashboard. Now you can see here in the middle recent announcements. As I mentioned, we love to communicate with you on Paralegal Space via announcement. It is a wonderful way to convey information to the entire class and all instructors at once. But over here on the left-hand side, you can also see a series of links, several of which we are going to take a look at this evening. So the first link that we're going to take a look at is the resources link. Now, this is not the main area of study support for the site, but it is an area where you will find additional materials to assist you as you are working through your reading and materials in the program. It is where you will find PowerPoints to accompany many of your classes. Your instructors will post additional items for you here. Just anything your instructors or administrators feel will be helpful to you as you are learning all about the law. And here we have the main area of study support for the site. This is the support that tracks each one of the chapters in your Essential Skills textbooks. Now, we also have support that tracks the main substantive classes that you will take in the ground program and also for the online program. And for all of the support that you will find on the website, it will track each one of the chapters in your book. So you can see over here on the left-hand side for Essential Skills, your material is broken down by segment. And essentially what you will do is read the material prior to coming to class, go to class and listen to and participate in the lectures, and then work through the corresponding study support on Paralegal Space. Now, the support builds upon what you are learning in class. It enhances it. It's a wonderful review, and quite honestly, practice makes perfect, really, with everything. The law can be like learning a foreign language. So again, practice makes perfect, and the more you do to make yourself comfortable with the lexicon, with the terminology, with everything that you were learning in class, the better you will do in the program. And that's where our study support comes in. So we do like to keep it interesting for all of you. So there is all sorts of interactive study support within the Essential Skills support. Here you can see some charts about federal and state court structure. We also have interactive support with just really, you name it, we have all different levels of support for you here. Just like to keep it interesting, like to keep it fun. Everybody has different ways of learning, and we want to convey the information to you in ways that are going to help you to learn and to help you remain interested and retain the material. We have interactive problems, tools, exercises, demonstrations, really get all sorts of practice in what you are learning in the program. Here is an example of an interactive citations quiz, and you will complete the citation by typing it into the site, and then the site will let you know whether you are right or whether you are wrong. And just to back up a little bit, citation is a series of letters or numbers that you will find after a case name that lets you know exactly where you can find that case, what court decided it, and what year it was decided. And this is very important as you are studying legal research and writing, because you want to make sure that the cases you are citing in your legal writing are cases that should be included in your briefs or your motions. You want to make sure that they are mandatory authority for your jurisdiction, and you want to make sure that your reader can access that case if they need to find it. Now, I'm throwing a lot of legal terms at you, of course, but this is all something that will become rote to you, as a matter for lack of a better word, as you are working through the program and taking the program. Here we have another sort of legal cartoon. As I said, there's just all types of study support within the Essential Skills support for you to understand the materials. Really learning about the law, you know, it's a different way of thinking, it's a different way of analyzing issues. And again, practice really does make perfect. So you are not only required to work through the study support that is available to you on Paralegal Space, but we strongly encourage it as well. Those students who have issues in the program and find themselves having problems in the program, or those who do not work through the support, it's there for you. It is only there to help you, and it is incredibly helpful. So we also have tons of mock exams, quizzes, practice exams. You can take them as many times as you want to test yourself on the material, find out what areas of the law you are already experts in and what areas you may need a little bit more help. As you are taking the practice exams and mock exams, you can, as I mentioned, take them as many times as you want. They are just for you, for your review. You will get instant gratification, so you will get the correct answer. Got a little ahead of myself. The site will let you know which answer is the correct answer, and then it will give you an explanation of why, in fact, that answer is correct. Then at the bottom of your answer, you can see here there is a study link to additional information about this particular concept, and I'll also let you know where in your book you can find this information if you need a little bit more review. Now, in addition to the support that tracks the chapters in your Essential Skills books, as well as torts and contracts, you will find several additional labs to assist you with the materials in the program. One of these labs we're looking at right now is the Law Library Lab. Now, this is not an area of the site where you can do actual searchable research as you would in a brick-and-mortar law library or on the two main legal databases Phaedra mentioned earlier, Westlaw and Lexis, and we're going to talk about them in a minute. But it is an area of the site where you can familiarize yourself with the types of materials you will find in a law library or online, so you understand how to best work through them and use them in your legal writing and in formulating your arguments. So basically, when you are working through the legal library, the law library, you will just click on the book you would like to take a look at in the stacks, and then that book will open up, and on the right-hand side of the page you can learn everything you ever wanted to know and then some about that particular book or register or material. So you can take a look at the cover, the index, you can zoom in, you can just learn how to utilize this particular book, these materials. If you are starting research to get some cases or get some information about a particular legal issue, where do you start in this particular book? Do you start in the index? Do you start in the table of content? How do you find what you need to find? How do you become an efficient researcher? Becoming an efficient legal researcher is a valued attribute in a paralegal in any law firm. You want to be able to find what you need to find fairly quickly and be able to support the arguments that you make in your briefs and in your motions. So it is very important to, again, be an efficient researcher and sort of know where you're looking and know what you're doing. You don't want to get into a research spiral where you can't find anything. And that happens to the best of us. But certainly you do have the tools on Paralegal Space to familiarize yourself with these materials and become an excellent researcher. Now you will also learn how materials are updated and also, again, the best way to work through these particular items. Do you want to start in the index? Do you want to start in the table of contents? Again, what's the best way to find what you need to find, both in the books but also on Westlaw and Lexis. Now, Westlaw and Lexis are the two main legal databases that attorneys use for research, attorneys, paralegals, law departments, wherever you may be. They are substantially similar to one another, but you will learn them both because you don't know what you will get in practice. Law firms, legal departments, etc. generally have one or the other because Westlaw and Lexis are both very expensive. In practice, as you are researching on either one of the databases, as the clock is ticking, the dollar signs are going up, which is why it is so important to be an efficient researcher, because in practice, again, you want to be able to get on Westlaw and or Lexis, find what you need quickly, and then log off again. Otherwise, you will have a very large bill to pass along to your client. In the program, you can stay on Westlaw and Lexis for as long as you want. As Phaedra mentioned earlier, your technology fees are included in the program, in the fees for your essential skills bundle. For ground students, you will have access to Westlaw for the duration of the program. You will have access to Lexis for 1 year from your start date. Online students will have access to both legal databases for 1 year from the start of the program. But again, you do want to utilize your time that you have on these sites. This is your opportunity in the program to click around as much as you want. Let's say you are working on an automobile accident case and you enter in search terms automobile accident, negligence, and injuries. Now Westlaw or Lexis are going to come back to you and either say, here are 1 million or so cases for you to take a look at, get started, or they are going to come back to you and say, there are too many cases that are coming up. We can't possibly send them all to you. This will be your chance while you have access to both of these databases to figure out what search terms work. How do you research? How can you find what you need to support your arguments? Westlaw and Lexis also have amazing tutorials on both of the sites, which we strongly recommend students work through. There are quick little videos that you can watch, how to research a case, how to research a statute. They have webinars just like we're doing tonight. They have written materials. They have amazing support on the respective sites. Again, we do recommend that students work through them, but certainly utilize this time while you have unfettered access to Westlaw and Lexis to really get comfortable on both databases. Again, they are substantially similar. I have a colleague who likes to describe them as Google for lawyers, but certainly once you log on to either one of the sites, you'll see it's a little bit more complicated to search than Google, but they really are wonderful resources to be able to find support for your legal writing and for your arguments. Now, in addition to the legal research labs, we also have an interactive writing lab that you can use as you are preparing your writing assignments for essential skills. Now, there's no reinventing the wheel in the law. If I have drafted a summons and complaint for, this is my favorite example, car accident case, 6 months ago, and another car accident case comes into the office, I'm not going to start completely from scratch. I am going to take that 6-month-old summons and complaint. I'm going to swap out my old facts for my new facts. I'm going to polish it up nicely, and I'm going to have a draft to submit and subsequently file and serve. With that in mind, you will have templates for each one of the documents that you will prepare for your Essential Skills class. Now, in addition to access to the templates, you will also have, you can see over here on the right-hand side, step-by-step instructions for drafting each one of your documents. So you will click in the first drop-down box and choose whichever document you are working on, and then you can listen to an audio lecture about that particular document. Underneath it, you can access step-by-step instructions of each one of the components that you need to include in your document to ensure that you are including everything that you need. So again, in addition to the templates, you will also receive instructions as to how to draft each one of these documents. Again, I can probably count on one hand the number of, I guess, briefs, motions, pleadings I've drafted completely from scratch. Templates are something that all attorneys use. Obviously, you have to make adjustments to them, but again, there's no reinventing the wheel, and you will also have access to additional templates that your instructors will post for you and that we will post on Paralegal Space, so you can get a sense of what each one of the documents you need to prepare has to include and has to look like. And then just a couple other functions of Paralegal Space. Where you've been, this is a way for you to keep track of what you have worked through to ensure that you have worked through all the study support available to you. And if you have not, to go back and make sure you work through it. Where you've been is a convenience for the students. It does require that cookies be enabled on your computer, but again, it is a good way for you to keep track of where you have worked and what work you still need to do. And then we do have continued access to Paralegal Space for graduates. Once a student has successfully completed the program, we do move them over to the Duke graduate site, where you can continue to access the same support and labs and materials that you accessed on the site that you were on while you were taking the program, and you will also access job postings that we post as they come in from local attorneys and law firms. You can see here we have a bunch of job postings ready for our Duke paralegals from law firms who are specifically looking for Duke paralegals. So again, once you've successfully completed the program, we will move you over to the graduate site. Okay, in order to successfully complete the program, you must complete successfully the Essential Skills Core curriculum in each substantive course. You must complete all class projects, library research, exams, and the comprehensive final for Essential Skills, and you must obtain at least an 80% cumulative in your substantive classes, as well as 80% in Essential Skills in order to earn your certificate. You are also expected to attend class. The paralegal program adheres to a strict 80% attendance policy in both Essential Skills and each of the substantive classes. Also, if you miss class, you're going to miss a huge amount of material, especially in the summer intensive section. You know, there is a lot of material that we go through in a short period of time, and if you are not in class, you will certainly miss a lot of important information that you do not want to miss and you want to be a part of. As far as admission requirements are concerned, and I'm going to pass this over to Phaedra shortly to talk about registration and financing and such, but as far as admission is concerned, you do need either an associate's or bachelor's degree, fluency in English, word processing, basic internet skills, a computer that you are reasonably confident in and do not feel as if you want to throw out of a window every 5 seconds, internet access, email, and Google is the preferred browser for accessing the website. Also, as far as computer access is concerned for both Windows and Mac, you can see here the requirements. Please do ensure that your system meets or exceeds the following minimum requirements. And again, as someone who often wants to throw my computer out the window, please do make sure that you are comfortable with your system, comfortable online, comfortable with your email. As you can see, there is a fairly extensive online component to the program, the ground program and also the online program. So it really is important that you are comfortable on your system, that you are comfortable troubleshooting. You know what cookies are, you know which browser you want to use, you know what a Flash plugin is, or you know how to look it up and figure out what a Flash plugin is. But you know, certainly you do want to ensure that you have a system that, you know, again, that you're comfortable with. Okay, now I'm going to pass it back to Phaedra, who's going to talk all about application and registration. So Phaedra, back to you.
Thanks, Stephanie. So I hope that you will want to apply. Visit our website. It has a lot of the information that we've spoken about, not so much about the online stuff, but a lot of the specifics about dates and the requirements. Some of those computer requirements, just to make sure your computer will work, I think that they're on our website as well. But at this point, complete the application form, pay the $25 application fee by May 5th. And then we will need certain documents from you in order to consider your application. And we won't consider, Duke won't consider an application unless we have all these documents. And these are due by May 10th. But obviously, the sooner the better in terms of applying and getting all your information. And please don't wait till the last minute. You will need to submit a current resume, a letter of reference, an official college transcript, and a signed program policy. And let me just kind of go through those. Resume is pretty obvious. The letter of reference can be it can be a personal reference, it can be an academic reference, it can be a work reference, whichever you like. All we really ask is that the letter come from the person who wrote the reference letter. You can't forward it along. And similarly, we need an official college transcript, and that's not due until May 11th. But that means that your copy won't suffice. We need it to come directly from the school. And that can come electronically. Some schools do that, some don't. Please know that transcripts, if they're not coming electronically, often take weeks and weeks to process, so it's something you want to think about starting right now. I often get asked if students need to submit every transcript for every school they've ever gone to, and the answer is no. The only transcript we need is the one that shows that you have that associate's or bachelor's degree, which is a requirement, of course, of the program. The last thing that you need to submit is the signed program policy. I will send you that upon enrollment in your enrollment confirmation email for you to review and sign and return. And I should note, let me kind of back up a little bit, the transcript, I don't need the transcript in order to consider your application, but you do need to have the transcript to us to start the program. If you do not have an actual transcript, we won't let you start the program. So we can consider your application without it, but we can't let you start the program without it. And then the registration deadline is May 11th. Again, we'll talk about financial aid in a moment, but consider doing that earlier rather than later, especially if you are going to be seeking out a student loan. And then classes begin on Monday, May 15th at 8 a.m. And next, please, Stephanie. And here's a little bit about tuition. Program tuition is $53.95. That has to be paid in full, though we do have a payment plan I will discuss in a moment. And then you have to get your books separately, and that can cost between $550 and $650. The essential skills book the package has to be bought new because it does include all of those codes to get on the online research sites. But the other ones, and I'll send you the link upon enrollment of which textbooks you need. The other ones, if you can find them used online, go for it. Different payment options. Obviously, we take cash or credit card. There is an option for you to apply for a private student loan. Our students often use Sallie Mae or Wells Fargo. There's information on our website about how to apply for those loans and some links to take you to those sites. Please note, as this is a non-degree program, which means it's non-credit, which means that you can't qualify for a FAFSA loan. So federal financial aid won't work in this case, I'm afraid. We do have a payment plan where you can pay half upon enrollment, and then half, I believe it's within 3 weeks of the program starting, so about halfway through, you have to pay the other half. And then the other possibilities, of course, is seeing if your employer will pay for it. And then the MyCAA, which is a program for spouses of people in the military, we have worked with them successfully, and they sometimes do the funding also. The last part that's not mentioned here is that sometimes you can get funding through NC Works if you are unemployed. You will need to contact, I would contact your local unemployment office and just find out who that person is that you would need to talk to about getting that funding. And again, that can be a time-consuming process, so that might be something you want to do sooner rather than later. Can I see the next slide? Thanks. And that's it. Do you want to get started? Please apply. Learn more.duke.edu/certificates/paralegal_summer intensive. And you can always email me or call me with questions, paralegalsummerintensive@duke.edu, or you can call me at 919-684-3379. And I think that's about it. I think we're ready to open up for questions.
Absolutely. So if anybody has any questions, and thank you so much, Phaedra. If anybody has any questions, please do feel free to start typing them into the questions box on your GoToWebinar toolbar. As I mentioned at the beginning, those questions will appear on my screen, and I will read them out loud, and either Phaedra or myself will field them. I should note that, sometimes the most important question is the one that you remember to ask after you've logged off for this evening, and that's okay. We're always ready for questions, so if anything comes up after we have concluded the webinar this evening, please do feel free to reach out at paralegalsummerintensive@duke.edu, and we will be happy to take your questions. As we are waiting for questions, I will give you an opportunity to type them in. I know that can sometimes take a moment. I will also note that upon successful completion of the program, you do receive a lovely framed paralegal certificate from Duke, or a paralegal certificate from Duke. So, that is something that is very exciting, that upon successfully completing the program, you will be sent. So that is a nice...
And the other thing I want to remind is that you do also qualify then, if you successfully complete the program, to apply with the NC bar to get paralegal certification. You don't have to have that certification to be a paralegal in North Carolina, but it certainly looks good on a resume to do so. And one thing that we do that I didn't mention that we do offer is that we offer an exam review class that is free of charge. It's for all of our graduates, and we offer them a few times a year, well, twice a year, about a month before each exam. So please remember that as well. We do kind of try to help our graduates as much as we can prepare for the NC bar exam.
Okay, any questions yet? Nothing yet, Phaedra. It almost looks like.
Well, we must have done
we did a really good job. Yeah, I was just going to say that. We did a really good job. But if anybody has any questions, please feel free to start typing away.
It looks to me like they don't, but do feel free to reach out to me tomorrow or anytime in the next few weeks with questions about the program, about the application process, anything like that. Feel free to reach out.
Yes, please do. As I mentioned, we completely understand that the most important question is the one you remember to ask after we've logged off, and that's okay. We are always available to answer your questions. So please do reach out. And again, Phaedra, I think we did a really good job. So I'm gonna thank everyone.
No one's typing in no.
No one's typing no either, so that's true. I am going to thank everyone for your interest, for your attendance this evening, and certainly hope to see your names on rosters and faces in classrooms at Duke University. So, Phaedra, thank you so much for everything this evening, and thank all of you for being here tonight. And good night. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Good night, everyone.